Hi, everybody. It's Agnes, and today I have a interview with David. David is in the USA, and he's come to share his success story. I actually read David's story recently. So, hello, David. Welcome to the interview.
Hey, thanks for having me. Nice to meet you in
Y-
person. Well, not in
yeah.
person, but
Yes. Yeah. I actually had a sneak peek and got to see you. So,
yeah.
but no one else gets to see you.
No, no, no.
Secret, top secret.
Yeah,
So, you had an amazing success story. And
yeah,
do you want to start back as to where this all began and the
yeah,
journey across? I'll hand it over to you.
yeah, yeah. So I was in a, I was in a kind of long relationship, and things didn't quite work out, and so after that, I decided, well, I can't be miserable for too long. I noticed it was hard on, my mother, who was constantly asking me every day, "Are you okay? Can I do anything for you?" And
Mm.
things of that nature. And at the time too, I was very stressed at the time. I was doing school. I was taking about 5 classes because I went to university at the time, and so I was taking 5 classes. I worked part time at a at a hospital, and then I also worked part time with an internship at another hospital. So it was very hard to manage, and so I was going into all these places of work miserable and upset, and coworkers asking, are you sure you can be here, and things of that nature. And so I thought, well, I got to find a way to get better. And so I came across one of your videos on a self-love. And so um I remember you were saying the affirmations and things like that, and I thought, well, I don't really think this is, it really works like that. But I figured, all right, I'd give it a try because I had nothing else was working, right? And
Mm.
so but before all that, I decided to investigate your whole channel as a whole, and it was a new concept to me. I've never really heard about it. I mean, you've heard people say, like, say these things over and over and over to yourself, but I didn't know that it was in relation to law of attraction per se. And so after doing some investigating and uh, looking at your videos and seeing your philosophy on life, and even the story you told about the tumor,
Oh, yeah.
uh, about how you defied the odds of a doctor, and me being in medicine, or not yet, but me
Mm.
in healthcare, I thought, what? I mean, that's a little unusual, but I mean it. But there has been research to show that people who tend to feel good about themselves have a faster recovery, or tend to have more things, I guess, miracles per se, happen to them, things that healthcare can't explain. And so anyway, and so I decided I'd take it a day at a time. I did your affirmations. Uh, Me being a guy in the US, things like this are kind of unmanly to say. And
Mm.
so I kind of did it in the privacy of in my room, and on
Yeah.
my way to work. I'd kind of, play your videos on replay. And even though maybe when I was doing the affirmations, it wasn't necessarily doing anything at first, the your voice and the manner of which you're so calm throughout your videos kind of kept my anxiousness, like, down per se. And so yeah, I just kept working on it day by day. I did things, I watched a couple of videos of things you can do to increase your self-love. You said, I think you're talking about the ladies, go out there, get your nails done and all that. And so I kind of did things that I liked. I started going to the gym more.
Mm-hmm.
um I hung out with friends. I mean, I did everything that made me happy and that distracted I guess, distracted me from, I guess, my anxiety or whatever you want to call it, my struggles and stuff. And so shortly after that, I went on a trip with one of my best friends. We went out to California. And so during that time, I was probably, I'd say about maybe 50, 60 before the trip. During the trip, I got up to, as far as, happiness and all that. And, the meter that you talk about, you only need to be, I can't remember, is it 59 or is it 55%?
51%, just getting over the halfway.
51%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting over the halfway.
Yeah.
And so then after the trip, I really, really got up until I'd say probably 80, 85s, and so I remember the new year was coming. I decided, like, you know what, I'm just, whatever happened that year, I think it was 2017, I was not going to bring in at all into 2018. And so, then as you know in the story, I got on a dating app, and I met a couple people here and there, and a lot of people didn't reply to me at all. And so, but with my confidence and my self-love up, I just kind of said, whatever. If they answer, answer, cool. If they don't, cool. I had friends asking me, how's it going? And, I kind of told them, like, well, this is what's going on. Some people replied, some people don't. And they were trying to, tell me, well, you can try these whatever pickup lines, you could try this, you could try that. And I mean, it got to a point where I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not going to try to be somebody that I'm not. If I'm as confident as I say I am, I'll just be myself, shoot the message. If they reply, cool. If they don't, whatever. And so, I met my specific person on there, and it's the old habitual things that you talk about all the time. It's like a kind of like a knee-jerk reaction, because when I first saw her picture, I was just like, don't even bother, she's not going to reply. And so, the quick second, I thought, no, let's calm down. I just thought all I need is someone to start a conversation with, and I know I'm good, because I know I have a lot to offer. I was, like I said, I was in shape. I got new clothes, I got new haircuts and everything. I was really feeling myself. And so, so I shot her the message, and within, I'd probably say about 15 to 20 minutes, she replied, and, from there, we kind of hit it off. The next couple of days, I met her in real life, and everything was just kind of just smooth. I remember there were times where, we'd go out somewhere, and when I initially first meet someone, I kind of see where you don't jump right into it. You kind of gauge the person, because everyone has this, I wouldn't say fake, but they want to put on a great presentation for you when you first meet them.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go on a couple of dates with her. I remember going in the car, I'd hand her the radio in my car, and I tell her, play whatever song you want, and it was like, well, what do you want me to play? No, don't ask me what you want, what I would want to hear. Play whatever you want to hear. Yeah. So she played all the songs, and pretty much every song I knew and I enjoyed, and I was just like, oh boy, well, we have similar music taste.
Lovely. Yeah.
And so, and so ever since then, everything's been great. We've kind of grown together, I should say. And just because, I got my specific person doesn't mean that the work that I've done and been doing stops. And so when I got into this new relationship, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I don't bring back any old habits, and really make sure that, I try to be perfect. I'm not always perfect, but if I can keep that percentage that you say, 51%, if I can always, for the most part, be good, I'm okay with that. And so, yeah.
So when you look back at like the breakup and then you look at this new connection, what do you think you understood at a deeper level about yourself and about relationships that actually attracted this in the first place?
I realized that, I think we all carry some kind of I guess, baggage from, I don't know, childhood, or, just baggage in general. We all go through life and we see different things. And so I realized that there are some things that I needed to change. Like, for example, I used to really dwell on things when things happened. I mean, it could be the most minor thing, and I was mad about it for a good 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was just more of a, why did this happen to me? I always get the short end of the stick, or, things like that. And so I kind of changed my mentality to more of a self-improvement, self-love type mentality, to where because no one wants to be with someone who is predictable, or, just nothing's really going on for them. So I thought, no matter what, especially now that I'm in a relationship, I am going to make sure that I build good habits and keep pushing the bar further for myself, to keep working at something, so that this person can, always see me as a hard worker, or full of surprises and things like that. Whereas before, it was just kind of like, I'm kind of just strolling through life, I guess.
Yeah. Aimlessly, without any kind of focus or direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so that's kind of my mentality now is, no matter what, keep working on yourself. I mean, one of my best friends, he had something that he was going through at the time. And so I referred him to one of your videos, and he said the same thing. He was just like, it's amazing how, I may not know this lady, but the manner in which she speaks, it's calming, and it's almost like you're attracted to it. It's confidence. And so I said, yeah, man, I mean, she helped me through a lot. you tried out for yourself. And so it kind of changed his mentality as well. And he kind of said, there's nothing more attractive than someone that is secure. You don't necessarily feel like you have to do anything for them.
Yeah.
And you feel like, if you're going to do something for them, it's because you really feel like doing it, not because you feel like you have to do it in order for that person to be happy.
Yeah.
And so, and after watching a lot of your videos, I thought, that's kind of how I was too. I was very negative. We call, over here in the States, we call it a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Someone, who is just constantly always upset, almost to the point where you don't even want to say hi to them, because it's going to be a whole story.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, and we've talked so much to the point where we thought about it. Even older, like old people are still somehow self-improved, if you think about it. Just because they can't play tennis anymore doesn't mean that they're not going to try to do gardening.
Yeah.
And then if they can't do gardening anymore, then they go play bingo, and if they can't improve at bingo, then they go play Sudoku. And it's like, they're always doing things, even though they're at pretty much near the end of their lives. They're always trying to self-improve somehow, some way, without even, maybe they may not even realize it.
Yeah.
And so if they're doing it, why shouldn't we?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think, and that's where I think, you know, there's so much wisdom in listening to older people, like that YouTube that I posted recently about the centurions. They were all over 100 years old. They were all still living in their own homes, walking, you know, doing different things. And I thought all of them had one thing in common, is they were positive and they didn't look back at things with regret. And I thought
Yes.
that's a mindset that's been practiced,
Yes.
and it becomes your belief system. And then it becomes that you don't get old and sick,
Right.
because your
Right.
mindset's so much better than a lot of people's, through choice and through practice and through application, that your life is then reflective of that wonderful mindset. So yeah, I think you know, I think when you go through a breakup and then you have to self-reflect, I think it's one of, I mean, I know it doesn't feel like a gift at the time, and it certainly didn't feel like a gift for me either. But when you look back, the things you learned about yourself, about trying to get from people love, attention, reassurance, whatever it was, and then that was cut off, you had to then deal with, like you say, the childhood stuff, and also why am I like this, and why can't I be happy? Why am I dependent on someone else for my happiness? It's like you reflect on all that stuff. And we have the benefit now that YouTube, you can go and put in a sentence, why, you know, can't I get my ex back? Or, you know, why am I'm depressed, what can I do? Or whatever. You can type things in and somebody will have done a YouTube on it, or a Google will have written something about it. So we're so lucky that we can connect that way on very, very specific topics now. Now, going back to when how long have you been with your lovely lady now?
I'd say, she's probably gonna watch this video and kill me, but a year and a year and a couple months.
A year and a couple months. Oh, that's lovely. Well, that's good. So that's not, you know, it's established and it's been a long enough time. And so in terms of what your daily routine still is too, because a lot of people ask me, you do a lot of stuff about getting your ex back or getting into a new relationship, but you know, I get the comment, can you do more things about what to do to maintain it once you're in it? So what would you say you do to maintain, not necessarily the relationship, because it's maintaining your own self. And then what do you do for your own self?
There's a couple things, that the techniques that you provide in your videos, it got me to a point where I kind of use them now, not to, you know, get anything, but to, I guess, it helps me handle stress better. If I could, let me see, for example, I remember, as far as, let's say, whatever you get in a relationship and things of that nature, everything is you pushed out, right? You know, you might get into, I don't know, maybe a small argument or a disagreement and things of that nature or whatever. And you think, well, you know, what have I done to make my specific person feel this way about me, or saying these things to me? And so, or, you know, you never know what may be going through their minds or things like that nature. It kind of helps you manage situations better. So let's say if she's mad about something, I can say, okay, is there any way I could have handled that better? Or if she, sorry, let me start over. If she's coming at me for some reason, maybe the old way of doing things, or the nasty way of doing things, is maybe to yell back.
Yeah.
But no, you kind of just sit down and you internalize, okay, I must have done something. And then you kind of decrease stress in yourself.
Yeah.
And you just talk to them calmly, say, hey, well, what have I done? You know, or what can I do to make this better? And so then when you kind of talk back and forth, you're able to better understand. And so that's one way.
Yeah.
Another way is boy, I'm shooting a blank. I know everyone's you've pushed out. What else is helping me? Um, what are the other techniques? Oh my gosh.
Mm.
I don't remember their names necessarily, but I do know that I practice them. But anyways, also self-love, like it's like you always preach.
David, you've gone a bit soft. I can't hear you anymore. I'm not sure why.
Hello?
That's better. Yeah, you're back.
All right.
Yeah.
Um I do meditations. So I'm really busy, so I can't do them like I used to.
Yep.
But I always, at least maybe once a week or twice a week, I will sit down for 10-15 minutes and play one of your videos. I don't know why. I just like yours better than other YouTube videos. I'll just replay the same videos over and over.
Yeah.
And so I'll do affirmations all the time, or sometimes when I'm in the shower, I'll,
Yep.
if I'm getting prepared for a day, I'll say them over and over and over.
Mm.
Or if I had a particularly hard day, before I go see my specific person, I will make sure I say them all my way to seeing them to
Yeah.
increase my mood. That way I
Yep.
don't show up being nasty, or not nasty, I guess, upset.
Yes.
And then the other person thinks, well, I guess he's not happy to see me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. That's like a good pre-paving exercise. Like you're
yeah,
cleaning up your energy, cleaning up your mood, cleaning up your vibe.
cleansing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
It's the
love
way of
doing the
starting over.
shower ones too. I find I do my appreciation in the shower every morning, and I think of 20 things I appreciate, and I think it's just a routine. My shower time is my appreciation time, and I just go, okay, I've done my
Hmm.
20 now, and I think
Yeah,
it just makes you go, nice. Now I've started my day. I've got a little bit of a good vibe. Now what else
right.
can I do? And it's, yeah, using those little pockets of moments, like you say, when you're traveling in the car, when you're in the shower,
Hmm.
when you're at the gym. For me, I go walking
Hmm.
for an hour and I'll do my affirmations with my little counter for an hour. And it's
Right.
like, then you bring the best of you to the relationship.
Always, 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 always,
Yeah.
always. It's that's the
Yeah.
way and even a technique that I use now is not only will I do that, but also I'll take random showers sometimes in the middle of the day,
Yep.
because whenever, for some reason, taking showers tricks my body into thinking that it's a new day,
Yeah.
because I shower every single morning when I get up. And so my body's like, oh, it must be a new day, And so everything that happened before my shower is
Mm.
kind of just
Yeah.
out of the way,
Yeah.
per
It's like
se.
it washes it off down the drain, doesn't
Thank
it?
you.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I find I
Yeah.
do that too, and then I'll have a sleep in the middle of the day if I've got 3 hours where I haven't got anyone booked in for coaching, and I think, oh, my eyes need a rest from the computer. Let me just go and listen to a meditation, drift off to sleep, and then it feels like a new day as well. The afternoon, it's
Right.
breaking
Right.
those, because you do lose your like if you've done a really good meditation or you've done some affirmations, it lifts your vibe up, but as your
Hmm.
day goes on, you start to slide back into
Right.
I'm hungry or I'm thirsty or I'm
Right.
overloaded or I've given out too much or whatever. So it's like,
Right.
it's such a good little, yeah, just a little power pack, turbo pack
Yeah.
to re
Yeah.
to redo.
And
Yeah.
and so that's really some of the things I would tell the
Yeah.
other viewers. Whatever your situation is, um, whether you're trying to attract someone back, or even get someone that you're very much
Mm,
interested in, you just have to make sure that you're in the best mood or behavior.
yeah.
Let's say for both sides. If you're trying to attract someone back, it's like failing at a test, right? You wouldn't immediately get back and retake the test all of a sudden. You
Mm,
hopefully you would try to internalize, okay, what did I do wrong?
yep.
Okay, how can I do better next time? You
Yeah.
study. Studying could be your self-love, improving yourself, improving your
Yeah.
skills, and then you
Yeah.
retake the test, or
Yeah.
you know
Exactly.
that's that's the way of I view it. And also you know after after this has gone through, I explained in the email that when I was trying to attract a new relationship, I thought in my head of all the qualities that I wanted in a person.
Yeah.
And so I listed them down on a paper, and if they're like there were a couple where I was like, oh, you're kind of asking for too much there, buddy. But I mean, it ended up working out, I mean, perfectly to exactly what I
Mm.
wanted. And so even now to this day, sometimes I don't mean, not even sometimes, but I think, boy, I got so lucky. And so sometimes thinking about everyone else, I wonder, do they think this is like some kind of like magical, you know, thing? Or in my opinion, I would say my definition would be, and I think you and Dan had talked about this in a previous interview. It's more of opening yourself up to more opportunities, because if you think about it, I think, in my opinion, if you're thinking about it from a magical standpoint, okay, if I do X, Y, Z, then, this will happen. It probably will never really, not never, but it probably won't work out that way because you're still trying to force something to happen. But if you do all the techniques and loving yourself and all that, it opens you up to array of things.
Yeah, it does. And I think like that technique of sitting down and writing down, you get really clear between you and you what you would like.
Hmm.
And
Yes, yes.
you often get that list from things that you didn't get or things you didn't want in past relationships.
Hmm. Right.
So you tighten up your
Yes.
your wants, you tighten them up. So
And that's the funny. I remember at the time too. Um, and also I watched a video of Dan, and I remember there was a video he put out, something about top 10 signs about, or top 10 things or signs that you need to look for that your manifestation is going to happen. And I
yeah,
thought, when I saw that thumbnail, I thought, boy, Agnes told me that looking for signs is not a way to get what you want. That means, you're still in a need for it. And
yeah.
so I said, all right, let me just watch, let me see what his perspective is. And Dan started off the video with the exact same way. Like, listen, like signs aren't a thing you should be looking for, but if you really, really need it,
Yeah.
here's some things to look out for.
Yeah. And we are
And
human. Sometimes we're really just needing a little boost of, look, just give me a break and give me something, give me something
right,
so I can just leg up a little bit today.
right.
And I think we do have those human moments where we do need a little bit. But I think the more you are able to manifest something after living from it, focusing on it, giving
Yes.
thanks for it in advance and all those things,
Yeah.
and you start to get evidence, you rely on, well, it's almost like the desire for signs drops away because your
Yes.
results are you're more assured, self-assured about, I
Yes.
launched this, the seeds are planted, they will be
Mhm.
watered, and the sun will go on them. And just as the cycle of nature, they will sprout. And it's the same with what I do. I think about what I want, I get clear about it, I project it out, I know it's
Mhm.
out there, I give thanks for it in advance because I trust myself and I trust
Yes.
life and I trust this process. So, but you need to have
Exactly.
that result experience with certain things before
Experience.
you get to that, and then your
Yes.
desire for signs drops away. You get less.
Exactly.
So, but I think it's a process. You kind of level up with
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
manifesting confidence.
Yes. Yes. I,
Yeah,
I remember one of the signs that he said was, I can't remember exactly what he said. It's something about the birds before the bee. Basically, what he said was, you'll
birds
see
before
many.
land.
What'd you say?
It's birds before land. Yeah,
Birds before land. You'll see
yeah.
many manifestations before the actual thing comes.
Mm.
Yes. And so I remember I was talking to another person before my specific person, and I thought, oh, great. Well, looks like it's working. I attracted someone and all that. And so um, I was just like, okay, well, I do remember the birds before land thing, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was like, okay, I guess. And
Yep.
so then I met my specific person, And one things in my past that I always struggled with was I was like a Mr. Yes Man. I mean, I was so terrified of hurting someone's feelings or,
Yeah. Yeah.
or disappointing them. And so I thought, well, no, this is my life, and I, I, I am confident enough in myself to say no to this person because she does not have the list of
Yeah.
things that I wanted in, a specific person. My specific person has these qualities. And
Mm.
so I was, confident enough to say, oh, well, sorry.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah. It's not happening.
it's not happening. Exactly. It's not happening.
Not
And
happening.
so,
But it is
yeah,
like a birds
respectfully.
before land. It's like you see the
Hmm.
birds before you see land when you're on a boat. The birds tell you land's nearby because they need to land somewhere. And it's like you
Uh-huh.
start to see the tide is turning because you've manifested someone that's kind of got a little bit of what you want, but not a full
Yeah.
thing. So you go,
Not
oh,
everything.
the energy's coming, it's
Yeah.
moving, it's good, right? Because a lot of people go, oh, that's not what I want. Why did I attract that? And then they just shut it down. But if you
No, no,
go,
no, no.
hey, that's moving, it's
That's me
getting,
making progress.
it's me making progress, yeah, and you see it as a
Yes.
positive, then I think it helps to view it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is about mindset, you know.
Yeah.
You really it's hard, even now to today. Sometimes I go up and I go down, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but I would say for the most part, these techniques have really helped me.
Mm.
And that was the other technique that you mentioned was living in the end.
Yeah.
Sometimes uh I want something, and so I kind of pretend that I've already had it.
Yeah.
And just, for me, I don't know, for me that's just, it decreases stress. You may
Mm.
not believe, I mean, it may not be true yet, but it will be one day. And so that's just a technique to use to calm yourself, raise your energy so that it has an opportunity to happen. Because if you constantly focus on that thing and then I haven't got it yet and you kind of give up, then it the opportunity will never present itself.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's such a I remember Florence Scovel Shinn wrote the book The Game of Life, and I thought, when I was reading that, I thought, this is so much not about you and a relationship, you and a dream job or meaningful work, you and money, you and your health. It's
Mhm.
about, it's like, it's really between you and your own mind and your ability to think in a much more fruitful, constructive way. And then the
Mhm.
outside just falls at your feet. Once you get
Yeah.
this right, then it impacts
Mhm.
the emotions. Then the
Yes.
emotions go forth and they attach themselves to more fruitful things. So the game of life is really a game between you and you. You're playing it
You and you.
between, it's
Right.
like a game between how good am I today in mastering my own thoughts, in mastering my
Your own
own
thoughts.
projections, in
Yes.
mastering my own confidence about how I think about myself, how I think about all these other subjects. That's the
Yes.
game. How good did I do today? Mastering my own thinking. That's
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
that's what's exciting.
And when you look at a lot of people in life, the successful people in life, these are the qualities that they have. I mean, if you
Yeah.
really think about the self-love and the confidence, you look at athletes,
Yeah.
you'll see them, you'll give them a post-game interview or something like that. They'll
Yeah.
say, do you believe that, you're the best in your position? And most of the time they say, yeah, I'm the best, and some
Yeah.
people see it as arrogant, and, or some people say, well, what else is he supposed to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's producing his numbers or his performance. It's increasing his performance.
Yeah.
And your thoughts really do affect your emotions, and therefore that also
Mm.
affects your outside world. Because
Yeah.
let's say if I wanted to be, I don't know, a businessman, and I thought of myself as a great businessman and things of that nature, and I go out to a business meeting and I think I'm the best there, people, get a little pep in your step, you talk with more confidence, even though you may not always have, you may not have the best strategies or things of that nature, people are attracted to that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
true.
works.
It's true. And you can't, there's so many different ways to interpret the laws, the law of attraction, the law of projection, the law of assumption. People all have their different ways of applying it. And,
Hmm.
that's good. I mean, we all get different results in different ways, but you cannot argue with someone's result.
Results, yes.
Like you
Yeah.
say, with successful people in any industry, they've
Yes.
mastered something about themselves and was
Yes.
able to create, attract,
Yes.
pull forth a result because of something they did in a way that they thought about something, in the way they believed about something, in the way that their
Yes.
emotions went out and impacted something. You
Yes.
cannot argue with someone's result. And I think
You can't.
those are the people you want to learn from, are the results
Yeah.
people, not the people that are just talking, because there's a lot of people
Yes.
that talk.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's fine. You're talking because you want to learn and you want to get better at it. But if you really want to, make it easier on yourself, you learn from people that have actually created something that you want in any area,
Right.
and you
Right.
study that. They study the
Yeah.
contents of their thinking around that subject, and that's, I think, where you can, and then you dissect it and go, okay, which bits am I going to apply? Because
Right. Right.
not all
Right.
techniques, I think, are attractive to certain people. There's some that you go, oh,
Right.
you know what, I don't really like that technique, I don't vibe with
Right.
that, and that's, you go, okay,
Yes.
I'll try something else. Like some people say, I can't visualize. Other people say, I don't really like scripting, I'm more of an audio person. So use
Hmm.
what you vibe with, and
Yeah.
become good at that one thing.
Yeah. Well, I know a technique that you uh, talk about that it didn't really vibe with me, but I can take a little bit from it, is the whole Pono prayer.
Oh, yep. Yep.
I at first I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about it, but I still kind of use it. I say at least the last part of it. Is it the dissolve the part of me that I can't remember.
Oh, to dissolve the part of you that created that, whatever
Yes,
that, whatever
yes,
that thing
yes.
is.
Whatever that is. Yes, I use that part.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, as far as the results, you're correct, because that was one of the things when I first was scanning through your channel and trying to, because I was a little bit, like I said, I was skeptical at first,
Yeah, and you
and
should
so
be. You should
right,
be about everybody.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so then
Yeah.
I looked at all the success videos and things of that nature, and I thought, well, I mean, how is this working? But I could
Mm,
not argue with the success emails that you were getting. I was just like,
yeah.
no matter how
Mm,
much you want to dissect it or really
yeah.
look into it, you can't argue with
People's results. Yeah.
results.
But you know
Yeah.
what, David, I think that's the thing. I remember when I first started, I was sharing my own success stories because I thought I can definitely share my experience with confidence because you can't argue with someone's experience. But
Yes.
I ran out of stories, and then it was like
Oh,
people started sending in the stories. Then I read them and I thought, you know what? People could still be saying, you just made that story up and put someone's name on it.
no,
And
no.
that's how the interviews were born.
Okay.
Because you guys then are real people to someone else that's listening. So it's making things transparent.
Transparent.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can make my own self transparent with my own stories, but then it's like, yeah, well, she could be just making up those stories about herself.
Right.
So,
Right.
I do think you have to make it as believable as you can by bringing forth um,
Yes.
in whatever way you can, because
Yeah.
there's so many in every industry, and on the planet, there's the good
Yeah.
people that are honest, and there's the ones that are talking out of that part of their
Right.
body. So
Right.
I remember thinking, and it was so interesting to hear people live, like
Right.
hearing you today. You hear someone's in another country, you hear their voice, you hear the way they share it, you hear the little bits and the little things that are unique to their story.
Right.
I think
Right.
that makes it way more credible because you're not just, you, it brings it to life. It's like you breathe life into the believability of it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know what? You say I'm calm, but I hear a real calm in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like
yeah.
you've hit that.
Yes. Yes.
You're at
And
peace on some, I mean, I'm sure you're not peaceful all the time, but I can hear
like,
that. I can hear that in you.
right. Yeah. I've really, I mean, and it's got to a point where like I said, I've shared it with my specific person, all the things that, this is her first real relationship. And so th-
Yeah.
I'm, I can kind of give some, I guess tips and tricks and
Yeah.
things of that nature. Um, Not only to help myself grow too, but, you got to have your partner grow with you as well. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
you really don't want to, leave someone behind,
Mm.
So,
Yeah. And I think, some of us are lucky that we've come to this information by, you fell on top of it through pain. You started researching, looking
right.
up, and then it takes you down a rabbit hole. So, yeah, if you've got, because really we look things up because we want relief and we don't feel
Yes. Yes.
okay. We're struggling with feeling hurt, depressed, angry,
Right.
brokenhearted, whatever. That's why we look for things and we research things, because we want relief. So if you can pass on that relief to someone that you love,
Right.
it's
It's great.
lovely. It really is lovely. Yeah.
And and I was talking to my friend too. I thought, it's crazy how, as a kid, growing up, we all we all grew up a certain way, right? When something happened, let's say your mother said, you messed something up in the kitchen. What happened? As kids, what do? We point, well, this was there and that was there, and then I fell on the, and it's like, we grow
Yeah.
up with this tendency to blame other people
Mm,
for or other things. And so when
yeah.
we grow up, we're never taught two things. We're never taught how to have self responsibility,
Mm,
and we're also not taught how to deal with our emotions and stress. I mean, all the time you're growing up, you're dependent on your parents. I
yeah.
guess some of us who are lucky to have that, or to rely on some person to
Mm,
provide care for you, not only for food, housing, but also
yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah.
Then you get around 13 or 14, you feel like you don't need your parents anymore, and screw them and all that. And you go on to high school, and it's all about your peers, what all your
Yeah.
friends, what they can do for you.
Yeah.
Then you hit, probably 18, 19, maybe you go to university or you just go to work. There's nobody. I mean, because it's
Mm,
pretty much a free for all.
yeah.
And so you don't build these qualities that I guess you've been able to show to everybody else.
Mm,
And so that's why I can't wait to whenever I have kids to try
yeah.
to teach them these things, these tools, so that they can be successful, in their lives.
Yeah. And what a great, growing up with parents that understand this stuff and have applied it and have got a sense of peace and calm about themselves, and they can pass that on to you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What a
Yeah,
child
yeah,
that will be.
yeah. And I know there are some things, even with my own mother and stuff. There are things that you will try to teach other people, and they will never get it until they experience it themselves. My mom has told me multiple times, try
Yeah.
this, try that. I
Yeah.
didn't listen.
Mm,
All right, you're right. And then she's just like, oh, what'd I tell you?
yeah.
And so
I love that. What did I tell you? I
I
love
tell
that
you,
bit.
yeah, yeah. I told you.
I
And
told
then
you.
if yeah, didn't I say that? And he's like, yep,
Yeah.
you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I
But
got to
yeah,
it, but we took a while. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember, David, my mum saying to me after about the fourth breakup, how many times are you going to do this to yourself?
Oh my gosh.
I was so mad. I thought, do it to myself. I'm not trying
Yeah.
doing it, because at that point I didn't understand I was doing it to myself. I was so
Right.
angry at her for weeks. I thought, I'm suffering. Kick me while I'm down, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, and also your story was motivational too. I mean, hearing just I've watched so many of your videos. I can't remember all the details, but I remember you telling us about some of the things that you had gone through, and you said that you met your specific person, but he was halfway across the world.
Yeah.
And I thought, and you worked on your techniques and made it happen. I thought, how
Mm.
incredible is it that someone can be mature or confident enough to love someone halfway across the world
Mm.
and somehow make it happen? I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
um, people only live maybe 3 hours away and they think long distance is hard,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be hard if you don't
Yeah.
want it to be hard.
Well, really, when I look back, the fact that he was a 25-hour flight away, it made me desire other things, which was to break free of having a boss, to earn six figures, to be able to travel and go over
Right,
there. And then once I was over there, I was close to my family of origin, where my roots are.
right,
So it was like the desire to be with a specific person, it sprouted all these other huge desires that I thought, how the heck am I going to manifest all of this?
hmm,
Leaving being an employee, earning enough money to travel and work, being my
right,
own boss, and then, going Sydney, London, south of France, and being
right.
free to no longer have to hear an alarm clock, because I was very driven by never hearing that sound ever again.
Yes, yes.
So that was a very simple desire. I never want to hear that noise again, ever, ever again.
Right,
So,
right,
the desire for wanting to connect with him meant that all this other stuff had to fall into place to be, because,
right,
I mean, in Australia, we only get 4 weeks a year off for holidays. And I thought, my boss isn't going to let me go more than 1 month at a time.
right,
So I can't have a relationship with someone if I can only have a month off. That's not a
right,
relationship. So it meant I
right,
had to dismantle my work. I had to, increase my income dramatically. And I had to be able to come and go freely to still see my mum, because I thought, I'm not leaving my mum in Australia by herself.
oh yeah,
So it was like all this stuff was like all interwoven and dovetailed together. And I thought, oh my God, I mean, there are days where I just thought, this is too big. I can't pull this off, and then I just go to bed and
right,
crash out because it would stress me out. But
yeah,
the desire to break free was so strong. I just thought, I feel so trapped. I'm suffocating. I want to do what I
right.
want to do when I want to do it. I want to see him. I want to be
Yes,
free. I want to, and
yes,
I remember thinking, who the heck is going to pay me money to talk about Neville and the law of attraction? That was my other thought. So I had to,
yeah,
then there's lots of people that, read Florence Scovel, Shen, Neville, Abraham Hicks, law of
right,
attraction. They're trying to get relief. So, now I can see that it was the obvious way. But at
yeah,
that time I was thinking, oh my God, this is frying my brain. I can't, I mean, I've read a lot about law of attraction, but how am I going to apply it at this level to manifest all of this together?
right,
So, but the rest is history, and it's all it having a specific person in another country, and this is why I started saying all this, created an immense, huge desire of so many other things, that having that desire for him made me break free from all the other shackles of this other stuff, is what
right.
happened. And if I hadn't
Yes,
had the desire for him, I don't think I would have gone for something that big.
right, right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so in the end, it all really made me leg up at a huge level mentally, because I did about 2 hours every night on meditation, visualizing, affirmations. I did it,
right,
watched TV for about 8 or 10 months. I think I'd get home from work, have my shower, do my affirmations in the shower, and then hop out and go, right, what are you feeling negatively about all these desires? And you now have to live in the end, live in the end, live in the end, live in the end.
oh, you worked, you really
I
worked hard.
did. I really did. And, I think, well, it helps me to be authentic with what I do, in terms of saying to people, look, it's possible, and I can
Yeah,
share the not just the knowledge, but the application, because that's where the hard bit is reading the knowledge and regurgitating it and telling people on YouTube's easy. But how did you apply that to this, and how did you get a result? That's another whole level of mental fortitude. Yeah. And you've been through it, and you've had to do it for yourself. So
yeah, I mean, hey, you in a way, you kind of had the same effect as my mother with the "I told you so," because you told me, Oh, I remember there was. I don't remember. I can't remember what it was, but I think you were very frustrated with your viewers at the time, and people kept asking you these questions. And I remember there was one video where you were just like, "Listen, you guys keep asking me these questions about how do I get. Stop it. You just said, focus on your self-love. Stop trying to get someone. So, I mean, I wasn't one of those, but I was just like, oh wow, she's really trying to tell people these things, and not have gone through it. She was right. I mean, it works.
Yeah, it does work, but it does take getting the knowledge off the page or out of the YouTube and doing it and applying it, and that's the hardest part. It is, and but it's so worth it. So worth it, isn't it? Yeah.
So worth it. I mean, it attracted a specific person out of this, but also that's great. But I also now have the knowledge to keep this specific person, and also to keep myself happy for the rest of, my life. I can attract whatever dream job or career that I want because of these skills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Excellent. I'm so glad you came and shared your story. It's brilliant. It's such a those moments of real I did it. Yeah. And this interview today is an I did it interview. You did it. And you didn't just do it 2 months ago and your relationship's still in the honeymoon phase, because everybody can be in that first 2 months and it be good. It's what you're made of. It happens after 6 months.
After when I was, of course, when initially in the beginning of the relationship, I was like, oh boy, this is great, whatever. And I meant to send an email earlier after about 6 months to 8 months.
Yeah.
But I was still a little bit shy and like kind of timid about it.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of waited. And then after, continuing to do your techniques, I'm like, you know what, it's unfair. I have to send her an email. I have to let her know she's done so much for me because, everything's been good. Yes, it's been long enough, I'd say, to where no one can say, well, this is just a honeymoon phase or whatever. No, we know each other. I know who she is, what she's going to do, what she's not going to do.
Yeah, it's solid. It's solid. I'm glad you waited, because some people, do like...
Oh, yeah, that would have been embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, psych, never mind. We didn't work out.
No.
Whatever.
Yeah, it gives you more credibility because you're stable after the year mark. You're solid still, and that's great. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming and paying it forward. Is what you're doing. Paying it forward. Yeah.
I really hope this helps. For anyone out there, just focus on getting well. Yeah. Loving yourself. Everything falls into place somehow, some way. Sometimes you want to get somewhere. How you get there doesn't matter, but the fact that you get there is what matters.
Exactly. The turtle wins the race.
Yes.
Yeah, the turtle wins the race. Okay, so do you want to say goodbye to the people? Any last words?
No, that was really it. Like I said, all the stuff that I said before. Do the self-love, love yourself, and work on improving yourself. Always, always, always. Even when you get what you want, or what you wanted. Keep working, because
Yeah.
It's you owe it to yourself to keep working hard.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed David's interview, and I will put down any links down below for anything that we discussed or referred to. And I will see you always in the next YouTube. David, stay on and we will say goodbye in private.
All right.